Hi everyone, I know this review is a little late, however, I wanted to discuss my thoughts on the series finale of How to Get Away with Murder. Now, in all honesty, I did take a slight break from How to Get Away with Murder. I stopped watching it faithfully after the first half of season 2. However, I was still watching clips in certain episodes here and there, so I was familiar with the storyline that was currently going on. And season 6, which is the season that we're currently on, also I had to binge watch it because I didn't want to watch the series finale without watching the entire season, because I wanted to have an idea of what was all going on before I watched the series finale actually. For a while, there had been a hashtag for How to Get Away with Murder that was Who Killed Annalise. So I was wondering how they were going to incorporate her murder or, her death before the series finale. And like I said, I binged watched season 6. So by episode 14, I was really wondering how they were going to implement her death in the show, because I know anytime someone dies on this show, it takes more than just an episode or 20 minutes to explain how the person died, why she died, and who killed them. And they incorporated her death in a way that made sense at the end of the episode. And also, if you haven't seen, like I said, if you haven't seen the series finale, I suggest that you watch that before I get too much into this, because it's going to contain a lot of spoilers. Throughout this episode titled Stay, we see clips of someone getting shot in front of the courthouse building on the steps. And I know there was a moment when Laurel, she was outside with her son, and she heard gunshots, and she was like, okay, y'all are doing too much. Look, I only came back for a second to testify against or for Annalise, and I'm ready to get out of this mess. So she tells the driver to drive, they drive off, and to never be seen again for real this time. Leading up to their testimony, Michaela and Connor's testimony, Connor is feeling a lot of guilt because there's been a lot of dirt that they've done, him and the K5, that's done over the past 3 years for Annalise. And there's been a lot of people that they've hurt, and they've pretty much played a part in killing people. So he feels like he deserves to go to jail, which is understandable because he has a conscience, and in a way he is guilty by association, and he did participate in some of the killings. So it's understandable for him to actually feel, the way that he does. However, on the other hand, Michaela, she does not care. She just wants to leave Middleton behind her, and she just wants to move on with her life, and that's understandable as well. And she talks about how her childhood was, how she was raised by racist parents, and she was abused physically and mentally. And she talked about this in the season also, about how when she was younger, like, the parents on the playground would call her the N-word. She was always quiet in class because people didn't really accept her because of her race. So her speaking out wouldn't have been good for her. So she was really smart back then, and she knew how to how to act in order to survive the current situation that she was in. So that in itself was very traumatizing for her. So she feels like she doesn't need to go to jail because she already had to. In a way, she was already punished enough when she was growing up. So her going to jail now wouldn't make sense to her because she pretty much already paid her time when she was a child. And I definitely understand how she feels. And, you can't do anything but accept her opinion on that. So, turns out Oliver, he made a deal with Lanford to be the secret witness to take the stand against Annalise. And when Connor finds out, he is not happy about it, and he pretty much wants to divorce Oliver because of it. And when he said that, I was like, ooh, that's harsh. And I feel like that would probably be the best decision for these two to make, because it's obvious that Connor is going to jail, and Oliver, he was only guilty by association. He was dragged into this mess with the K5 only because he was dating and then soon married Connor. So he doesn't really deserve to be punished for just being associated with them. Even though, like I said, I did stop watching it for a second, so I'm not sure if there was some things that he would be guilty of, but I don't think that he would be as guilty as the people, the K5 members, because he wasn't directly helping out Annalise kill these people. So it's finally time for Michaela and Connor to take the stand to testify against Annalise. And Michaela, she lies on Annalise and says that she had a relationship with Wes. And I remember before I stopped watching How to Get Away with Murder every Tuesday, and I would just binge watch here and there. I remember when there was a scene when Annalise and Wes were, they were pretty much cuddling each other on the stairs, and then someone said online, or it was like a theory about what if those two were having a relationship, or if they were going to go that route with these two characters' storyline. And then there was some speculation of whether or not Wes was Annalise's secret child. So I remember around that time when that was all going on, but turns out that was a lie. And Laurel, she even testifies against Michaela's statement, because if anyone had a relationship with Wes, it was her, and she said I have a whole child with him. So that pretty much denounces the testimony against what Michaela said in regards to Annalise having an affair with Wes. And she pretty much cracked Michaela's face when she played the recording of Michaela speaking on the phone with the ICE agent to get someone deported. And I didn't see that particular episode, and I don't think that I watched the that season, but I remember the beginning of season 5 when Tegan, she was upset with Michaela about something, and I wasn't too sure of what was going on, because season 4 I didn't really watch a lot of those episodes. So pretty much Annalise makes Michaela look like the liar that she was being on the stand. And when it was Connor's turn, Frank whispers something in his ear before he makes it to the witness stand, and he says that Michaela got a better deal. So then Connor has one of those panic attacks, and when he's brought back to the room for the FBI agents to talk to him, they said, look, I didn't buy that the first time, but we can sit here and talk so that we can get you a different deal. Flash forward to Connor's next testimonial attempt against Annalise. Annalise discredits Connor's statement by informing him in the court that he wrote a paper on how he had a whole gay conversion camp shut down, and apparently this conversion camp never even existed. And then Connor flat out admits that he's a liar. And what put the icing on the cake was Nate's testimony about how the FBI tried to coerce him into testifying against Annalise. He gave up $20 million, a chance to get $20 million from the FBI so that he could stand up for Annalise on the stand, which meant a lot. He even gave her Wes's confession letter so that she can do with what she wanted to with it, and obviously she got rid of it. Okay, so the next day in court, Annalise gives the jury a final statement, and she pretty much says, if the gloves don't fit, I must acquit. I'm playing, she didn't say that, but she pretty much gave like a powerful statement, closing statement, and it really, I felt like it pulled on the heartstrings of the jury, especially since the jury was very diverse, so they could really understand, her pain, and and really see the innocence in Annalise. And when it's time for the judge to read off the verdict, it was like a land sweep. She got not guilty for each murder case. I did think for a second she was going to get maybe 1 or 2 guilty verdicts, because it was like 7 people that she was being faced for the crime of like killing them, and I thought there was going to be at least 1 or 2 guilty verdicts, and then that would explain why, how she died, because she would have got the death penalty. But she had she was found not guilty on all charges. So now we get to the scene, the step scenes when she's talking to the news reporter, and she's giving like her statement about like the trial and everything, and we see Frank coming. And at first I thought that Frank was going to shoot Annalise because I didn't know if he was going to be upset because he oh yeah, I'm to touch bases on this. He found out that Hannah was his actual mom. Hannah and Sam were his parents, and Bonnie ended up telling Frank. So I thought that maybe he was going to kill Annalise because maybe he would have blamed her for her death, but he ends up shooting the governor. So when he's actually walking up the stairs, Bonnie sees that and she tries to stop him, and then when he shoots at the governor, he kills her, but then he's also shot because the police and some of the guards there, they have guns as well. So when he's shot, she grabs him, and it's a really sad scene. And it turns out that she's shot as well. So Annalise, she's trying to coddle Bonnie because they've been together for so long. They were always very close. And at this point, if I was Annalise, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to retire at this point, because she's lucky enough to have gotten off this trial with all charges cleared. For her to lose the two people in her circle, that was really sad. And then also we get to the remaining K5 members, which would be the Keating Five. And that's Connor and Michaela, and by association, Oliver. Was he part of the Keating Five? No, it wasn't. He had nothing to do with the Keating Five. It was Wes, Laurel, Michaela. That's three. Connor and Michaela. Connor and... Okay, let me recount this. It was Wes, Laurel, Connor, and Michaela, and Asher. Yeah, so that was the Keating Five. Oliver, he was just an extra. So turns out like she's literally in the Keating Five. Michaela is the last woman standing, and I found it very interesting how because there was technically like two groups. Annalise, even though she was like the leader of the Keating Five, she had her own group off to the side, which was her, Bonnie, and Frank. And out of both of these groups, the black woman was the last woman standing. And I felt like that was very powerful. But it was also sad. And I know Michaela, some people, they felt like, they didn't feel bad for Michaela when she was the last person standing and no one really wanted to deal with her anymore. But I actually felt bad for her. When Connor got arrested, Oliver got upset with her when she tried to hug him and say, "Get away from me. You should have been in jail." And to be honest, Michaela made it known that she does not want to go to jail. Connor made it known that he wants to go to jail to pay for all the things that he's done over the past years. So to be honest, I feel like it worked out in everyone's interest because Connor, he was okay with going to jail. Michaela wasn't. And what was, the kicker was when she tried to call Laurel. She didn't even dial the number. She tried to press one of the, recent people that she called on her iPhone. And when she pressed her name and the phone started ringing, all she heard was, "Derp, derp. This number is no longer in service." I was like, dang. Like she can't even go to Gabriel because Gabriel and her, they're done with each other completely now, especially since since Gabriel knows now that she played a part in Sam's death, Sam's his father. So flash forward to the final scene when we're at Annalise's funeral. Turns out she passes away long in the future, and we can only assume it's due to age and natural causes. And we see Laurel, and her hair is like a blonde grayish color. And then we see someone that she's standing next to, and we automatically assume that it's Wes. And I assumed that maybe they were in disguise or something at first, and that's why her hair was that color. But then we see Connor and Oliver, and they're they have gray hair and everything and wrinkles. So then that confirmed that this is like long in the future. And I felt like it was interesting that Michaela wasn't there, but that pretty much confirmed what she meant when she said she wasn't going to feel sorry after the trial for Annalise, and she just wanted to move on with her life. We get to see scenes of what Annalise's life was like leading up to her death. She was part partnered with Officer Tegan. They were still friends, or they were dating each other or married to each other. I'm not sure, but obviously they still had a really close relationship because Officer Tegan admitted her love to Annalise after she made a statement to the jury. And fast forward, we see Christopher Castillo, and he is now a professor at Middleton University. And I felt like this was such a bittersweet moment when he was looking at the students, and in one of the chairs, it was Annalise, a present day Annalise sitting there. And when she disappeared, that was just so, I don't know. It was just so bittersweet. And then when he wrote down the words "How to Get Away with Murder" and the show ended, it was so amazing. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it when television shows wrap up in a bittersweet moment and all the loose ends are tied together. I love shows like that, especially mystery television shows, because sometimes it can be hard to try to wrap everything up without leaving holes in stories because it's a mystery show. But I feel like this show, I was really pleased by how it ended. Now I really hope that they try to do like a spin-off or a show that's similar to this. I definitely would watch it. I don't think they would be able to do like a How to Get Away with Murder 2.0 type of show so soon, especially since the final scene of this series was way into the future when all the main characters that were still alive were older in age, and Christopher, he was now an adult, as we saw in the final scene. So I don't know if they would be able to come back with like a How to Get Away with Murder 2.0 that's in the future. But who knows what the writers have up their sleeve. I will definitely be watching if they do have a spinoff for this show. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you comment below, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram. I'm going to put my Instagram profile link in the description box. Have a good one.